everybody! I'm going to talk about video game pickups and stuff.
Hello! What do you think you're doing? Only I get to talking to the camera. Okay, so anyway, sorry, the AC's going, the fan is going, I wet my head because it's hot as hell. Anyway, crazy New England weather here. That being said, with these pickups videos, I'm going to take out the recent part, because these are, I'm just going to start calling them game pickups, I'm still going to have, like, the gimmicky names and stuff, but, the thing is, these aren't video, recent sounds like I bought them, like, the other day or something, whereas, like, these could be games that I bought, like, a month ago or something, but, anyway, that out of the way. So, first, before we talk about the games, a couple of gaming-related thingamabobs. The first thing is this vintage copy of Electronic Gaming Monthly. You got Super Return of the Jedi, Super Punch-Out, Dynamite Headdy, Captain Commando, etc. Mega Man X2. There's a lot of great games discussed in here. I was like, all right, this is the last one of the retro game magazine that I'm buying because it can be very addictive buying these. And it is fun. I love looking through them, like reading different parts and like looking at pictures and stuff. It's like almost like opening a time machine. But like I said, that'll most likely be the last one that I add to my collection, unless I see one that I gotta hit. That it's like, oh my god, I have to have that. But yeah. Next, I got a Pokemon figure. I wanted to talk about this because it's a favorite of mine. It's Scizor, who made his debut in Gen 2, the gold and silver. It was always a favorite of mine, and then I found out there was a toy of it, like, some time ago, and then I was like, well, recently, whatever, and then I was like, oh my god, I gotta get that, finally, been on the hunt for him, finally found him. Quick trick of water, and then we'll get into the games. So, for the games, first we got something for the Game Boy. Tiny Toon Adventures, Bab's Big Break. For those who don't know, have you not heard? It was my understanding everyone had heard. Never mind. Well, anyway, those who don't know, I'm going for a complete collection of Tiny Toon Adventures games, so that's another one checked off the list. Next, a Genesis game, which is actually a reproduction card, because the real thing is expensive, and it's like one of, if not the most expensive sought-after game for the system, and that's Crusaders of Senti. Like I said, reproduction card, because the real thing goes for like probably like 12 grand, maybe more, maybe less, somewhere around that line. But anyway, this was, back in the day, this was Sega's answer to The Legend of Zelda. So it's basically, I guess you could say, it's like a Link to the Past clone, and it's actually a great game, though. I mean, it's like, one thing that I like is how like Legend of Zelda, you use like boomerangs, the boomerang, the lantern, the hook shot, etc. to use like, to solve puzzles and stuff. In this case, in this game, it's like, instead of items, you actually use like little animals and creatures and stuff to help solve puzzles and get across gaps and things like that. I thought that was kind of a cool idea. Now we're going back to Nintendo's handheld line. Extreme Ghostbusters for the Game Boy Advance. Sorry about the lighting. Now, actually, can't even really see the name on that. Wow, that print's not tiny or anything. Look at that. It's like that little tiny thing with a, you see the Ghostbusters symbol? That's literally where the name of the game is. Wow. But anyway, so, this was, I remember, because I was born in 87, I remember watching reruns of the real Ghostbusters in the early 90s, and then in the late 90s was Extreme Ghostbusters, and I honestly can't say which one I like better. I think they're both great shows, even rewatched them in recent years and stuff, but Extreme Ghostbusters, I think it was a cool take on it. It had kind of like a Batman Beyond vibe. It was kind of like, basically it was years later, all the Ghostbusters were retired, except for Egon, who was like semi-retired, and he worked with like this group of like teenagers, young adults that were the new Ghostbusters. And but yeah, it was a cool show. It had like a darker tone to it as well, and of course there was some comedy in it as well. But yeah, it had a couple of games. Like there's one for the PS1 that's like an arcade style shoot 'em up, and this one is more like an action platformer. You know, and I've been kind of on the fence about like, oh, should I get one of these games? So like, you know, I might still get the PS1 game at some point, but I was like, I'll give it a shot. Next, PSP game, Final Fantasy IV: The Complete Collection. So it's Final Fantasy IV and Final Fantasy IV: The After Years, which was like a sequel to the fourth game that came out like years later. You know, it was like back in the late 2000s or something, I think. Because I had it was like chapters, and I had the first one on the Wii, because that's what it was. I think it was Wii, PSP, and PC, and you know, all I had at the time was the Wii. So you know, basically they did them in like, you know, I got the first one beat, and I was like, what, that's it? Like, well, I don't get it, what's going on? And then it was like, oh, because it's like chapters, like you gotta pay and download each one. And I was like, yeah, never mind. So yeah, finally, you know, so you know, here's the whole collection. You know, it's the fourth game and the After Years, so happy to have that. Although I haven't started it yet, but you know, Final Fantasy IV was always my favorite of the series. So now, 4 Switch games, 1 digital, 4 physical, 3 physical. Sorry. The digital game is Super Bomberman R Online, which, you know, it's free to download, but obviously you need Nintendo Switch Online to play it. And basically, it's Bomberman Battle Royale. It's insane, but it's a lot of fun. You know, I'm seriously like hooked on it. The way it works is, well, for one thing, you have 2 hits. Let me just, you know, instead of just the traditional 1, which let me just throw that out there for real quick. Basically, it's 64 players. Like I said, you each have 2 hits. You can get another one by blowing up blocks or KO and other players. But yeah, 64 players, and then there's like 12 arenas, and you'll be in, it'll be you and like 3 others in one arena for a minute trying to blow each other up and get power ups and stuff. Then it'll go to like the emergency. Here come the blocks are coming down and stuff, so you can travel to the other like arenas and stuff, so you can have like a bunch of people in different arenas and stuff. It's like I said, it's crazy, but it's a lot of fun, and you can unlock like power up. I mean, you can unlock like custom costumes and things like, and different things like that. Yeah, but like I said, it's a lot of fun. Oh, actually, funny thing, you know, because I not too long ago I did a video where I talked about these arcade battle royale games and stuff that are coming to Nintendo Switch Online. And then it was like, shortly after I did that, the YouTuber SNES Drunk did a similar video. He was focused more on like Super Nintendo games, you know, games that he'd think would be like a cool idea. And then obviously people in the comments were talking about the same thing. Somebody actually mentioned Bomberman. But a funny thing, because I was like, you know, this was something I wanted to talk about. I mean, I kind of just wanted a reason to talk about this, because it's like, it's a game that I'm going to buy when it comes out, but I was like, oh, it's like, I want to talk about it now. So I'm not going to wait till my next pickups video, but one of the games he mentioned that he think would be like a cool like battle royale game was Pocky and Rocky. He was like, yeah, this is an underrated series, and there's actually a remaster version coming. And I was like, wait, what? So I found out a couple of months. I found out this was actually announced a couple of months ago that Natsume is remastering the Pocky and Rocky game, or so I was like, oh yes, because I've been wanting them to do that, ever since they remastered Wild Guns and Ninja Warrior. And I was like, oh, hopefully they do Pocky and Rocky, and well, so they are. But anyway. So now let me move on to the physical games. First one is Oddworld, something new and tasty, or Oddworld, or however the hell you want to say it, whichever comes first. But yeah, I remember when this first came out for the PS1. My brother and I played the crap out of it. Just so many hours of between even if you weren't just semi-serious, trying to complete the story. Sometimes you just kill Abe to be fun, as a joke or something, because there's infinite lives. But yeah, it was last week actually. I was at the mall, and I went into GameStop. So I was kind of just browsing around, and then I saw this in the Switch, in the Switch games. I was like, ooh, because a funny thing, I remember when this remastered version came out a few years ago on the Xbone and the PS4, And I was like I definitely have to get that at some point. I remember seeing the physical version in stores and stuff, and I kept putting off buying it, and then all of a sudden I couldn't find it, and so I was like, oh, let me look online. Yeah, physical version was expensive, so I was like, oh, okay, I'll buy the digital version at some point. Kept putting it off, then I find the physical Switch version, so I was like, okay, I'll just buy that version. You know, I get the physical, I have the physical version, and I can play it on the go, so hell. But yeah, it's a great remaster. I've been really enjoying that. Although I've only played a little bit of it so far, to be honest. Next, new Pokemon Snap. Now, let me get the more negative stuff out of the way first. So, because probably the number one question that people ask about this game is it worth the price? You know, it's... Personally, I'm going to say no. I don't really think it is. Like, here in the States, it's $60, $50 if you get it at Walmart, like I did. Because I think it is fun and everything, you know, the graphics are beautiful, but it's like, I can see how some people might get kind of bored with this game. Don't get me wrong, it's a great game, but and let me get the quick little nitpick things out of the way first. One thing is, some of the cutscenes seem unnecessary. Like, you'll have a level, like, the cutscenes, the cinematic cutscenes, excuse me, you know, some of them seem unnecessary. You have ones that are, like, average, but then you have other ones that are literally, like, 5 seconds, so it's like, what was the point of that? Then the other thing is, I've talked about this before, the title is very unoriginal. I mean, the first and last Pokemon Snap game came out over 20 years ago, and, you know, when there was only 151 Pokemon in the Gen 1 games. Now there's 8 generations, about 900 Pokemon, countless spin-offs, an ongoing anime series, a card game, movies, and a whole bunch of other stuff, and you're telling me they couldn't come up with a more original title? That being said, the game does have quite a bit of replay value compared to the original, because it's like there's a handful of islands. I think it's like 5, maybe 4 or 5, and each one has like about 2 or 3, give or take, areas, and each area, some of the areas have a day and night mode, and for each area you level up. So it's like, when it's like, sorry, my freaking allergies. I was just blowing dust over there, that's why. Trying to clean something off. Anyway, like I said, different areas, and then you have the day and night mode, and then, you know, some levels have some areas have alternate paths, and you get experience points to level up for each area and stuff, and then it's like, between the levels and the areas and the day and night mode and stuff, there's like different Pokemon who will appear in these different time zones and stuff, so it's like, you know, like I said, it adds more to the replay value. And you also have, each Pokemon has 4 different types of photos. It's like 1 star, 2 stars, 3 stars, and 4 stars. It's kind of hard to explain how it works, but again, like, you know, that, so it's like you're trying to take the different types of pictures of Pokemon and stuff for your, and then you can also save Pokemon pictures to your own personal album, which you can, like, you know, decorate with, like, stickers and, like, borders and stuff. So, like, I know I can't sound like a broken record, but that, you know, a whole lot of replay value. And, you know, some of the levels are just incredible. Like, you know, like, you know, it is, like I personally find it fun, but like I can see how some people might get bored with it. And, you know, and another one, that is a very positive thing about the game, is the graphics are amazing. Like, one level where or area, whatever, is an underwater one. Like, you start out, like, in the coral reef, and then you go, like, deep into the, like, more deep into the water, and it's just, like, that area just completely blew me away. It almost makes me want to, like, take, like go into an actual submarine and do, like, deep-sea exploration or something like that. But yeah. And another thing that, this was, like, oh, actually, 2 things, was because in the anime, there was a character named Todd, which they later redubbed him as Snap. That's all the story. But that's the character you play as in the first Pokemon Snap game. He's back in this, you know, and he's like, because of that, you know, the original Pokemon Snap in the anime was probably like 10, 11. Now he's like, they brought him back in this, but he's like probably in his 20s or something. So I thought that was kind of cool. And the other thing is that, oh, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, you basically, when it comes to your, like, photo decks where you keep, like, your star photo pictures of the Pokemon and stuff, the photo decks as they call it, you actually get to choose which ones you want. Like, because in the original, that was actually something I never really liked about the original game, was that it was like, you could take a picture of a Pokemon, and then you take another picture, and it's like you get like better points for it, something. Then Professor Oak will be like, "Oh yeah, this picture's better than your first one, so we're just gonna replace it. You know, your old one is gonna be deleted, and we're gonna keep this new one." But it's like, what if I liked the old one better? So it's like in this one, you pick which. You know, it's like if you get a new picture that has like a higher score and more points and stuff, and it's like, yeah, higher score and everything, but I kind of like my older picture better, so I'm just gonna keep that one. I mean, you still count the points and stuff, but yeah. So the last game is Metopia. Now, this originally came out on the 3DS, and I kind of just passed on it. But I was like, when I learned more about it, and then as I was coming to the Switch, I was like, oh, okay, I'll check it out. It's a good game, but it's also very weird. It's basically an RPG where you use your Miis, you make them for your party. You make them for you can use the ones directly from your system. Or you can, like, make some from scratch as you're playing the game, which, to be honest, I find that a lot easier because you need a lot more. It's like, oh, you head into a village, make some villagers, like, out of Miis. Oh, you head into the kingdom, make the king and his soldiers and stuff, like, out of Miis. But it's cool how, like, I like how you can pretty much make your own characters, pretty much. And then, you know, there's a whole lot of, like, it's very, like, detailed. Well, pretty detailed, like the customization and stuff. And then you can, what was I gonna say? You can use your amiibos, like there's somebody you talk to. It's like a Nintendo fanatic that you can use your amiibos, like you scan them in, and it's like you get like game tickets, which you use for like mini games at the inn, including which I'll get to that in a minute. But you also get like certain costumes, like the Mario, you know, depending on the amiibos you have. So you have like costumes like, you know, the Mario Brothers, Link, the Inklings, Ness. That one kind of surprised me. Samus, and then you can use them for your Miis. So theoretically, if you wanted to, you could make this into an RPG with Nintendo IPs. But the gameplay and like how you get items is kind of weird. Like, the overworld map is like you just go from one section to another, and then it's like for each section it's like, we'll just call it a mini dungeon. And the way the mini dungeon works is that, like, the Miis will just kind of stroll along on their own, like you don't really control them or anything, and then you'll just randomly encounter enemies. And then with the battles, you only control the hero, the main Mii, the one that you most likely use yourself as. Like, you know, that's what I did. I'm sure that's what the majority of people who bought the game will do. And the others are controlled by the computer. It's like, oh, that's kind of lame, but and then at the end of each, what the hell do you call it? Mini dungeon, or at least that's what I'm calling it. You come to an inn, and then you do like a variety of stuff. Like you can build bonds between the characters, and like you can play like these little mini games to get like items and stuff. And that's what's interesting is like you have like there's two ways of getting items. One is like you have a roulette, which you use the game tickets for, and the other is, it's like you go to one of the you click on like a money bag and then go to one of the Miis, and it's like, oh, they're looking to buy a new piece of armor or a new weapon or something. Like that's how you get like the weapons and armor, which I don't know, and items, which I think is kind of odd, but but what's kind of cool is you can like basically just equip the stats. Like it's like okay, this new piece of armor gives me like better defense and stuff, but I don't really like the way it looks, so I'm just gonna equip the stats, and then like you'll pick a different piece of armor for my character or something. Like that's kind of interesting. So overall, it's a pretty cool game. Like I think it's, you know, it's, if you're an RPG fan, it's probably worth checking out, but it's not like a must-play game. So that's all my pickups. So until next time, thanks for watching. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your week. Thanks again. Thanks for watching.